Both me and Neil are going to talk to you today, are we not, Neil?
We are indeed.
About our experiences at RSA. We've been going for way too many years, and it's always been very interesting. It's always been very beneficial, but it's a labyrinth to walk around, and there's a lot to do. And I think we have put this presentation together, which we've done for a few other people over the course of the years, just because we wanted to share our pearls of wisdom, just so that you don't screw up potentially like sometimes we do as we walk around the show. So we really just wanted to kind of like take you through our steps, really, of how to really kind of maneuver the show and get a lot out of it and make sure it's beneficial. And beneficial not only physically, mentally, and also commercially, so that when you kind of walk through, you get something out of it at the other end, and from a PR perspective, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's dive straight into the presentation. Let me just hope that it moves. This is a floor plan of RSA. As you see, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of exhibitors, and there are not just these two floors, there's another floor. And when I think the essence, the reason why we've taken you through the first description here of the floor plan is that you'll see it's like a jungle. As I said, it's a labyrinth, it's madness. And I think you have to plan. And I think what Neil and I always have worked out is that it's you need to almost like memorize where you're going to go and how you're going to do it, because otherwise you just get pulled in and you get lost. There is the North Hall and there's the South Hall. And in the North Hall, I think the exhibitors are much, much smaller. So it depends what you're there for. And whereas the bigger companies are in the South Hall. No, sorry. Yes, it is that way around, isn't it? The big ones are in the North Hall.
Yeah, that's the North Hall on our left anyway. And remember, this is all actually, what's strange is all underground. So the whole exhibition space is underground. So there's a tunnel which connects the two halls together, which is, if you look on the right-hand side, you can see there's a tunnel there. There's a lot of interesting companies usually in that crossover section. A lot of people walk through, obviously, two different halls, so it's quite a good place to be if you're exhibiting. Really depends what you're looking for in terms of your visit, what you're trying to achieve. So it's good to have some very clear objectives when you first set out, and make sure you have registered. There's lots of events going on during the exhibition and also during the evenings as well. There's events in the morning before it opens, all through the day, and also in the evenings. Most of them happening on the Tuesday and Wednesday. On the Thursday, the show shuts in the afternoon, and in the afternoon, everyone leaves to return back to where they've come from. So there's not much happening on the Thursday evening. On the Monday evening, there is an exhibitor party. They call it a cocktail session, which is very American, which is quite good. You have to buy tickets for that if you don't have a conference pass. And it's good to buy one of those in advance, so if you want to walk around but it's not super busy with people, and meet people on the stands, etc. If you want to talk to vendors.
I'm going to go back a slide because I think it's not working very well, this our presentation. I just wanted to tell you, in case no one knew about us, because I think our first slide was always Eskenzi, to just give you a bit of a kind of overview. We've been around 30 years. We're a PR agency. We're global. We've got guys that work for us in the US. Obviously, we're based in the UK. We work in France. We work in Germany, and we do all sorts of. And we work with other kind of similar agencies around the world. So do ask us if you need anything else.
That's how you get around. Do click on it like that.
Okay, right. Key timings and events. So I think Neil just went through those. I think my most important, the thing I've learned the most is I'm running around the show excited. I know I've got so much to achieve. And then suddenly I get to Thursday and lunchtime is all over and done with. So be very mindful of that. I think it closes at 2 o'clock. So remember, it is like, we think we've got so many days. We actually have 2.5 days there. And there are also events that go on Monday, which is what Neil said. So have a little look at this, and if everybody wants this, they can come back to us. There are loads of events in the evening, and the events in the evenings are really, really good and well worth it. One of the things that is also quite interesting is the early stage expo floor that most people don't know about. And that is actually on the first floor. It's like a mezzanine level. That does have windows. It isn't underground, but it is well worth going to because there are companies there that are often quite competitive to what we're actually doing here in the UK. So it's well worth having a little snifty up there and go and have a look at what's going on. And it's where they all launch. They all launch stuff, and it's kind of anything else, Neil, that we want to talk about upstairs.
Yeah, there's quite a few British companies in there actually, which is nice to see. And they have presentations up there as well. So a lot of CISOs tend to go up there because that's where the new innovative companies often are. So the early ones. So it's good to go there and see what's happening.
Like I said before, there are over 1,000 exhibitors at RSA, 24,000 visitors roughly. So again, there's no seating, there's nowhere to go, there's nowhere inside to have meetings. So just be very mindful of that, and we'll take you through our kind of hidden gems at San Francisco, where all the kind of good places are to meet. But it does take about 10 minutes to walk around from the north side of the hall to the south side of the hall. So if suddenly you think you've got a meeting, which is what I've done this so many times, I've got a meeting at 3 o'clock and then I've got a meeting at 4 o'clock. And then I actually find, oh my God, I've now got 10 minutes to get somewhere else. So be really, really careful. Make sure you only have meetings for a half an hour, 45 minutes, because it does take forever. And then loads of people have got meetings in the Marriott. They've got meetings in the Regis or the W Hotel, which are all the big, and then there's loads of restaurants, and all the restaurants around that area have all get turned into meetings.
They're all sponsored, so all the space within probably a 10-minute walk outside of the exhibition centre is also taken up by vendors that have taken over the space and used it to hold meetings and sponsor things.
So this is our little insight in where to hold meetings. I hope we won't spend very long on this, but I know that it's well worth knowing where all of the meetings are, and it is like a jungle. On the W Hotel, you're never getting to sit in there because everyone just the whole foyer is just a madhouse. The Marriott's also where loads of meetings happen. I think a lot of the press and the analysts meet upstairs.
The Marriott, there's a mezzanine floor there where the analysts and the journalists meet with companies. So that's a good place if you want to meet journalists or analysts. You'll probably find them up there. The W Hotel and the St. Regis is where the investors tend to meet. So the private equity funds, venture capital funds, they tend to be in those, and the CEOs of companies, they tend to be in those two hotels. The Palace there's a lot of sort of mini conferences going on in the Palace, isn't there? There's some quite big meetings, and the Intercontinental as well. There's a lovely bar at the top of the Marriott, which is usually different companies will have sponsored events up there as well. So basically every space you can think of, they are being used by different companies to present, as well as the main space.
So where I go, which is my big kind of secret, is the MoMA Cafe, because no one goes to the MoMA Cafe, which is actually opposite. That's the Museum of Modern Art. And it's closed on Wednesdays, but that's a really, really great place because no one goes there. And also no one goes opposite to the Jewish Museum. And they've got a great little cafe and loads of seating. It's again opposite, within 5 minutes walk. And then we also have loads of meetings, don't we, in the Yerba Buena Gardens?
Yeah.
Which are lovely. And that's just literally above the actual building. And the other,
it's like a plaza with parks and seating out there.
And the other amazing place is Metreon, which is a cinema complex, which of course no one's going to go to, which is also on the same complex, a 2-second walk, and you can meet in the cafe there. So that's well worth knowing. And there's a big
quite a lot of cafes around the edge of that plaza as well, which are quite nice to go to.
Well, we always go to the Grove, and unfortunately, a lot of people now are kind of renting it out. But go and they won't have it. I always go there for breakfast. I usually try and get there for lunch or dinner because it's my favorite restaurant. It's beautiful and the food is really healthy and nice. So those are where you may want to hold meetings, right? RSA parties, 85 we looked at the last time we looked. and that's already probably been updated. So you've got a lot of parties, and if you don't actually register for them, they get full up. So go and do a search.
Some may already be too late to register for, actually, if you haven't yet.
But it's well worth kind of just doing you're just having a look, deciding where you want to go and what your objectives are. And Neil and I have actually wandered around those parties. We often go to about 5 or 6 a night. And I think we've really, really met so many interesting people, haven't we, at those parties?
Yeah, what's the analyst one we went to last year that was really good?
That was 451.
451's party was really, because each of the analysts presented their view of the industry and what was happening, which was fascinating. So some of these events are really very useful to listen to.
Actually, maybe in Forrester, but it was either Forrester or 451. It was fantastic.
We could go to both of them.
Probably was. We go to so many, we don't even know who we are at the end of the evenings. That is another thing I need to say, that don't get pissed. Don't overdo it. I think that at these parties you get plowed with booze. Everybody is drinking, and you haven't eaten most of the days, and there's very little food.
And their cocktails are really strong. They're probably 4/5 alcohol and 1/5 tonic or mixer, so they make them really strong. So you're better off trying to get some with water instead.
That's our very sober advice to everybody, because
And you're very glad the next morning, I'll tell you that.
exactly, because then we're having to schlep around the show for another God knows how long, all day long. So it is hard work. I just want you to know, the whole point of this presentation is you're learning by our mistakes effectively. And Neil and I have often partied way into the evening and then woken up in the morning and go, oh no, and we know we've got to do so much work. But do have a look at those lists, and at the bottom we put that kind of the unofficial list of parties.
And it depends what, as we've said here, if you want to get funding, look at something like Insight Partners. Look at where the smart money is that they're holding an event.
Useful information. Walking for 3 days is shattering. So have a rucksack with the essentials. Maybe bring extra socks, extra shoes. Always have a bottle that you can. They have refueling stations everywhere, but make sure you're constantly drinking and keeping hydrated. I don't know, it gets very cold suddenly in San Francisco, doesn't it? Or then it gets very hot.
Layers. Everyone says for San Francisco, layers. So you want to have layers of clothing if you can. And also, I mean, I wear black trainers. I used to wear black leather smart British shoes, like the usual handmade type stuff, and don't wear those. They're very uncomfortable after about 10 hours. So black trainers look really cool. And no one will pay any attention. Everyone's wearing trainers anyway, so all the vendors will be, and most of the visitors, I think.
Yeah.
It's like you treat it like a hike, because I think we do 20,000 steps a day when you look at it's easy. So you're doing a lot of walking.
So the things that I'm just going to quickly run through this. It'll take a minute. We go to the Irish Bar in Chinatown. That's brilliant. The good Chinese is the House of Nangs, or the Nanking. House of Nanking, amazing. Or Fangs. We've done loads of parties at
Fangs is quite close to the exhibition centre.
Right next door to my favourite restaurant, which I've already mentioned, is the Grove. We've got Blackwood on Chestnut Street, which is, and we've got
That's
amazing.
quite a way away.
But you've got places. There's loads. So actually, just DM us if you want to know about these. They're amazing Mexican restaurants. Go to Oracle Park if you've got time to see a baseball game, get a bike and go down across the Golden Gate Bridge, go and visit Sausalito, visit Alcatraz, get in a cable car, go down the wiggly streets in the Russian Quarter, walk through the Presidio. And Neil and I've actually lived in San Francisco for a little while, so we know a lot of these places. So just go and suss them all out. That was all the fun stuff. Now the serious stuff. And this is the stuff that obviously we wanted to take you through. Why are you going to RSA? Why do you need to be serious about what you're doing there? Is it to get sales leads? If it's to get sales leads and you want to get really good business, do your research now. I mean, we're talking about with less than 2 weeks, just so it may already be too late, but just make sure you get meetings before you get there, because don't do what we often do, is walk around the show and just hope we're going to get leads from walking around. Use Zoom Info, use Lusher, Crunchbase, Owl, whatever you do.
So just say on LinkedIn, I'm going to be at RSA, who wants to meet up? So your contacts will pass on your details to other people. It'll be good to meet. So make sure you put a little message on there to say you're going there.
And the Americans are very over-enthusiastic and very optimistic and lovely. Often they will kind of take your number, take your card, or be very enthusiastic. And you can walk away and just feel, oh my God, this has been phenomenal. Some of them can be empty promises. Sometimes Neil and I have looked at and compared notes, and we've been on a real high, which is RSA. You want to be on a high, but then we've ended up kind of not getting too much from it. So really be ferocious about following up on those leads if that's what you're going there for, because you need to make sure that money you invest in going to RSA is well worth it. I mean, obviously, if you're going for competition, go and have a look what the competition are up to, which is why I said go upstairs to the first floor and have a look at the younger startups and see what they're up to. And if it's about going to see the VCs, I did this last year. I didn't get anywhere, to be honest. They are in the St. Regis. You can't just rock up and say hi to these guys. They're all so busy and they won't really talk to you, but there are means and ways of doing it. Plexel are there. There are some really, really, and I think they're helping a lot of startups try and get involved with the investors.
Oh, the other thing I was going to mention is you shouldn't have to buy a pass, an exhibitor pass. You should be able to go and look up, just do a quick Google search and see which vendors are offering free passes. A lot of them who have bought a package will have a lot of free tickets to give away. So you may want to get the cocktail party pass, but certainly for the basic pass, you should be able to get that free if you haven't done that already.
Yeah, because even the exhibitors will actually mention that they will get you a pass. If you're looking to expand into the USA, go and have a look at what your competitors are doing. Have they got a good relationship with resellers and distributors? We actually produced the other day, thanks to my team, Laura and the rest of them, Beth and stuff, they put together a list of really good resellers and distributors that our clients are actually using at the moment in the US. So if you want that, just kind of like DM us as well, just phone us and let us know if you want us to send that list over, because it was a really, really good list that we cobbled together after asking all our own clients who they're using, who they rate. Can you take advantage of the British Embassy and their network in the US? Because the British Embassy is there to help us, right? And we've actually contacted them, didn't we, when we went to stay in San Francisco?
Yeah.
And they ended up being actually they were quite good. They invited us to loads of parties and stuff. That was fun.
Yeah.
It's
I think it's good if you want to hold events in the US. The embassy is a great place to do it. More the consulate in San Francisco, and they can help you, put you in touch with people for sure. But I wouldn't rely on that as your sole means of meeting people for sure.
No.
It's just helpful.
Yeah. And networking. Is there anyone you can collaborate with that's going that you could bounce off or piggyback on? I think Neil and I always set up WhatsApp groups with other people who may not be conflicting with us, but who are walking around the show. And we will say to each other, well, we work very closely with Memory Blue, who used to be Operatics, and also Simon Hember, that used to run a recruitment agency. He still is involved in it. And so we would always have our own little WhatsApp group.
And Clive from Pulse Events.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Exactly. So what we always do is we kind of say, that's a good opportunity for you. And then hopefully they'll then send us a good opportunity. So just network and do the normal collaboration that always works when you collaborate with other people. And the analysts are there. The analysts are there in force. So all the analysts are there, and you can often get analyst meetings. These analysts do like 50, 60 meetings, don't they? It's insane. I don't know how they do it. And then if you want to meet press, it's tough. So they have a press office, but it's very, very difficult, isn't it, trying to get meetings with the press these days?
Yeah.
You really, really got to have something to talk to them about. It's not unheard of. I know that ISMG have still got a few slots that they are offering to do videos. I saw that Tony Morgan suggested that to some of our clients, and they were free. So there are opportunities. Again, let us know if this is something you want us to help you with, and then we can hopefully find opportunities for you. I may have just put 2 slides too many. I have no idea. We've done that one. Thank you. So who are the VCs? Are you looking for venture capital? What do you
Let's just say seek out.
Who are the VCs to eke out? I thought it was to eke them out.
Oh, eke them out. Okay.
Eke
All
them
right.
out. You
That's
can
cool.
seek them out.
Got you. Okay.
So I put a list down here of which VCs and key players at RSA are the ones to follow up. Obviously, start with LinkedIn. You can contact me. Neil and I are involved in Ballistic Ventures, which is a big VC fund. They're doing phenomenally well, actually. And Barmek Mehta, a good friend of mine, is now kind of running that with four amazing other people, Ted Schlein and Mandy and fabulous people that set that company up. And they've really kind of like helping companies that are sort of looking from about 8 million, I think. It's about the right number, wasn't it?
A bit more than that, probably.
Now, 8 to 10
In
million.
the US, they're looking for much more money to lend and to raise, so the numbers are different.
So if you are really have got something really viable, let us know and we can pass it towards Ballistic. We also, Insight Partners, as Neil just mentioned, is phenomenal, really amazing company, and they help a lot of startups and scale ups. YL Ventures, I think you probably already know these, but Forge Point is important. Crosspoint Capital Partners, Teammate, phenomenal. 1011 Ventures, they are the beautiful, wonderful Dave Palmer, who's obviously here in the UK, but really proactive, always happy to help you guys. And Bold Start Ventures is another one. So there are some really good guys to set up, and I put the names in there of the people that they want.
Night Dragon.
Oh yeah, well. Night Dragon. Sorry, I didn't say that. Dave DeWart.
Yeah.
So again, those are the guys, and I'm sure you know who those guys are. And if you need any help nailing them, let us know. Nail your messaging. I tell my clients messaging must include the Holy Trinity, which are the following 3 points. How do you reduce risk? You're going to have to tell people that because they're not going to want to know about this otherwise. What are your products actually achieving for all of these guys? Make sure you know your messaging. And if you're walking around that show with anybody else, make sure they know what the messaging is. The people, the CISOs always say this. I know because they come to our analyst forums and our CISO round tables, and they always say, how are you going to bring efficiency to our security team? What is it that you're bringing that's going to be different to everybody else? And actually, will it integrate with the products I've already got? Because if it doesn't, I don't want it because I'm not going to throw everything out. And everybody's looking to reduce costs, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, and you've got to work across the whole stack they have, so the ops team as well. So not just security side of things, but also the operations side as well.
All basic stuff that you guys, I'm sure, will know about. There are around 3,000 cybersecurity companies at the moment. How is your company going to stand out from the rest? What is your messaging? Are you confident that you sound like you're doing stuff that is different? Make sure you're not boring. What makes you revolutionary, different, exciting? And again, as I said, are you aligning and singing from the same song sheet as all the other people in your companies? And Neil and I can always help you with messaging, by the way. Our team can, and we do a really good messaging half a day or a couple of hours. Know your ideal customer profile. Don't go down the wrong avenues. Just do your homework. Put the time and the effort in to really get this right. Are you right? Are you kind of like selling to the CISO, selling to sales engineers, selling to the developers, programmers? Who is it? Who is your ideal person? And we've got to get a customer advocate who is willing to be your case study and your favorite kind of customer that's going to always stand out there that you can blast all over the place and get as your speaker and your kind of your PR, your mentor, your person that's going to be out there and speak on your behalf. And then you can always pull them up and get them to talk to the analysts or the media or speaking of engagements and things like that. So anything else on those ones really about kind of helping to kind of create this image that you're a successful company, that you know what you're talking about, and it makes sense and it resonates with the world out there and it's not just another company that's now using AI to do cybersecurity.
I think you need to be really clear about what problem you're solving. That's the main thing, and how you solve it. A lot of people don't. They do a lot of text speak and they don't really explain what they do. And I don't think using abbreviations for things is really dangerous because they don't necessarily mean the same thing to other people. And I think just having a list of people that you are working with, if you're able to mention names of clients, customers, that's much more powerful. And obviously, if you're talking to analysts, it's really useful to be able to mention them as well.
Meeting press at RSA. Oh God, I tell you, this is not, this is so, this is,
They don't miss
it doesn't like my finger, this laptop.
something gentle.
I'm never
So
gentle.
be gentle with a laptop.
Your content strategy, building your visibility in the market show could be instrumental in driving traffic to your stand. So, you're wanting to secure the messaging with meetings with prospects, the press, the analysts, you want to create a bit of buzz. So, how are you going to do that? What is it that you're going to kind of start to put into your little tool bag to get as much from being there? Are you already really active out there doing loads and loads of stuff to get lots and lots of content? You know, have you done a survey? Have you got some good press releases done? Is there anything that's going on in the company that you could actually kind of use as a hook to allure the press and future clients? We don't ever recommend anyone goes to RSA and kind of tries to tell people of a new product or something like that. When there's about 1,000 companies all trying to compete for the press and the analyst's attention, we just say just don't do it. Do it a month before, do it a month afterwards, but never do it around a big exhibition like RSA Black Hat Info Security.
So
Lot
basically, we're saying you should have already done it. If you're launching a new product, you should have been getting it out there. Should be on your website. It needs to be all perfect, running, ready to demonstrate, and have got some media attention and social media as well. I'll make sure you're pushing out on your own channels that you have a new product and what it does, what the problem it solves is again.
So do blogs, do lots of interesting videos, do whatever you possibly can to start to create really interesting content, um, and use social media as much as you possibly can. I mean, this all does come down to LinkedIn. I really do believe it. I just think you can just generate so much. I know there are people there going, I know. LinkedIn is so important. Use the hashtags. Be as human as you possibly can. Use humor, make things funny, use photographs. Just do whatever you can to just kind of create an image of real people. There's a personality behind it all. And you're going to just kind of like make this as successful as possible. People want to success. People want to be surrounded by successful people.
And carry on doing it whilst you're actually at the show so people can see you're there and see what you're up to. So don't just stop suddenly when you get to RSA, like, well, it disappeared. So keep on doing it.
As I said, at RSA, there is a press office. You can probably go down there. That's at and there's also everyone's there at the Marriott. They don't like to release the press list. If you want to meet the press, they don't like to release this press list before because then all the press get hounded by a million and one exhibitors and visitors. So again, if you want to know who is going to be there from a press point of view, you can always, again, let us know and we'll give you last year's press list because last year's press list is going to have all of the press that are going to be there this year. So that may help you a little bit. As Neil said, start pitching now. Create briefing books where, if appointments come in, actually make sure that someone will help you put together a briefing book so the people you're meeting, they're a little bit about who they are, a nice photograph, what is their areas of interest. Make sure you really understand the person you're meeting. And that's something always you should do anyway. And then, confirm the time, the date, the location, and redo it. The amount of times I've been there and they've just never shown up, or people just get sidetracked and they just can't remember they were going to meet us. God forbid they can't remember knowing they've got a meeting with us. How outrageous.
It's probably better to use WhatsApp, Signal, whatever app you're going to use because the mobile signal is downstairs, remember? So using something that doesn't uses the Wi-Fi to connect is probably better.
And like we said, try and make the meetings about 30 minutes. So news at the show is generated by the keynotes and the panelists and the mergers and acquisitions. If you've got little something to say, no one's interested. So just beware. I mean, and sometimes it's nice just to meet these people and say, hey, it doesn't matter if I haven't got anything to say to you this time, but I'd love to meet you face to face. I'd like to chat to you. I'd just like to say hi. And then when I have got something, then I'll tell you about it. And then make it a 5, 10, 15-minute meeting. Again, stick to your schedule. If you've got 20 meetings, just be really, really careful, be really, really mindful, and make sure that you've got time between each meeting to go from one place to another. This was an important thing, I think. If you are actually going to meet the people and the press, sometimes you get very junior journalists. Those junior and people become quite disparaging about them. They don't know what they're talking about. They were really. We've had lots and lots of clients in the past who said that journalist didn't know what they were going on about. Total waste of time. And then 5 years later or 10 years later, they're working on the Wall Street Journal, or they're working on the Times or the Telegraph. That's happened to us loads. So always be respectful and courteous, and follow them up, because you never know where they're going to be.
Don't go by appearances, because the scruffiest people could often be the most intelligent, the most informed, and the most respected. So don't just go on what they look like.
Yeah. And don't say, I'm coming up with a whole new category. There are no competitors. We're the leader in all of that stuff. There's no market. Just don't say anything like that, because
they've heard it all before.
They've heard it all before, and there's never the leader. Who is the leader? Who is the one that kind of like, it's just, you're not going to get anywhere with that. They'll see straight through you. And there's no such company that doesn't have a competitor. You want competitors. It's much, much, much better to have competition. Remember, any meeting with a press or analyst will be useful. They may not write about you yet, but it's all about relationship building. And I think that's about all on that slide. Interview no-nos. What are the interview no-nos now?
Well, get your facts straight, get your messaging clear, know what you want to say, stick to that, and be sure you know how to handle difficult questions. There's no such thing as off the record. Obviously, being prepared, as we said, is quite a big place. You need to make sure you know where you'll be meeting someone, and go and check it out before you go and have that meeting. So maybe go there the day before, just check out the lay of the land, make sure you're familiar with it, you know how to get there. Very easy to get lost. Don't waffle, stick to the topic. You're not selling to somebody, you're trying to inform someone. So this is all about the why. And as I said before, jargon, technical, all that stuff. A lot of these journalists, they're not necessarily cybersecurity experts, specialists. So make sure you explain it in language they can understand. You're going to get much better reception from that. If you want to educate them, and prepared to go off topic. I always think be prepared to go off topic. So if something happens, be prepared to talk about that thing that's happened that day, because that's what their stories will be about, particularly in the main conference program.
You mean if there's a breaking story?
Breaking story, yeah.
Yeah.
Or something from the actual conference.
Yeah.
What did you hear from this keynote speaker about? What do you think about it? And you haven't even seen what's on the main program, so you've got no idea what they're talking about. So it's good to follow the news as well. If you're not going to be there, follow the news that's being generated during the day.
And I think that's the case with everything, isn't it? That if there's a story that's breaking, that's topical, a journalist is going to, if you can then talk around that, the journalist is going to weave you into that story, even if it's just a 1 or 2 liner, just because you know something about what's been going on. And they always want to get a fresh quote. That means it saves them from going around the houses to try and get one. Factors for a successful briefing. Like we said, no one buys a product, they always buy solutions. So when speaking around your offering, frame it in the context of the challenges you solve and the benefits that are going to be bringing to your end users. So never, ever sell. Journalists will just throw you away.
They waste their time and it wastes your time.
Yeah, and then they may as well go and spend it on, that's called advertising. PR is actually earned. So you're actually kind of earning it by actually giving them a good lead, a good story, something interesting. So if you are selling, just go and buy an advert. They'd much prefer that. Um, and you know, briefings on broader industry topics can be a great way of demonstrating your expertise, which is what Neil just now said. If you can talk around subjects, if you can talk around topics, anything that's breaking stories, that that's what they're after. Something that's going to be newsworthy. Remember, these journalists are all about their SEO these days, and you know they want to find something that's going to kind of rattle their rattle the cages of their readers in a way. They want to kind of come up with stuff that's going to stick, stuff that's going to kind of get more and more people to their website. So if you can actually kind of come up with this really topical, novel stuff, they're going to write about that. They're always looking for originality, good statistics, stuff that they know is going to kind of make a good story.
And something that's entertaining, something that's surprising, different viewpoints, all this kind of things that make an entertaining story.
Yeah.
Think what would entertain people, because that's what they want to write about. They want to inform people, but also they need to entertain them. They're not reading a white paper.
And I think you already mentioned that, didn't you? Jargonese.
Yeah.
Don't use, kind of, it's just awful. It never works. And the marketing language is the pit, so don't go around there. As I said, you're not selling. And I always walk in to an interview, we're looking about what makes a successful briefing. Always think about the three key messages that you want to get across. And just stick to that. Don't go off that plan. So you just go into that meeting, think these are three things I want to get across. And when they write about that, what's going to be the dream piece? It's going to be those three things I want to get across. So always rehearse them, rehearse them, rehearse them, rehearse them, and know what you want to start, end, and finish with, the start and the middle and the end. What are the things you want them to say? They'll say, tell me about your company. Is there anything else you'd like me to add? You go, yes. Now I can tell you about the three things I wanted to get across. I think that's really, really important. Prepare a briefing document yourself and always follow up, because journalists will often say, well, you may not have an answer. And then you can say, I'll come back to you with that one.
Or I'll have one of my researchers find something. We got a report on that. I'll send it to you. So if you're going to send something, send it. But send it straight away, because they're not going to write about it tomorrow. They're writing that story today.
Connect with the journalist straight after that interview as well, or the salesperson or anybody you've just met, so you know who they are. And by the way, I have started doing this now, that I actually kind of write down, because I think what happens on LinkedIn is that you won't remember their name necessarily, and it's much better that you actually write your notes down on WhatsApp in your notes and actually say, I met the following people, and then just try and describe it, come up with a one-liner on what they look like and stuff, or even take a photograph with their badge against you, because
that's a good one.
Yeah, because otherwise you forget who the hell they are. I do anyway. Maybe all of you are far better, got greater memories than me, but I think it's a really good way of doing it. What do we put here? Never let we put here, if they do write about you, that'd be amazing. They'll never let you review an article, by the way. You can't go back and say, I didn't like that, I want to change this. That doesn't happen. So be very careful with what you say to people. What you say is up for grabs. So be careful about that. And if a journalist does cover what you said, share the coverage on your social medias and just make sure that everyone's reading about it, and tag the journalist. Thank the journalist, and encourage much engagement as you possibly can and amplify its visibility. And I think that is it, folks. If there's anything else you think that we should have told you, let us know. Go to RSA, enjoy it, have a fabulous time, and go do us Brits proud. Go get lots of work, and make it a success.